Elias Kane wiped grease from his hands as he leaned against the workbench in his small workshop on Earth's orbiting station, Haven 7. Sparks from a faulty plasma conduit flickered across the ceiling, and he muttered under his breath. Life had always been simple. Fix the machines, repair what others could not, and stay out of trouble. He liked it that way, but today, everything was about to change. A sharp chime rang through the station, echoing in the quiet metal corridors. Elias frowned. No one ever called him personally. He glanced at the holoscreen above the workbench. The image that appeared made him freeze. A tall, slender alien stood in ceremonial robes, golden and black, with eyes that shimmered like twin suns. The being's voice was calm but commanding. Elias Kane, it said, you have been chosen to inherit the legacy of the Colossus. Elias blinked. I'm sorry. Did you say Colossus? The alien's golden eyes did not flicker. Yes, the largest warship ever built. It has been dormant for centuries, waiting for the rightful heir. That heir is you? Elias laughed nervously. You've got the wrong guy. I'm just an engineer. I fix engines. I don't inherit battleships. You are exactly the one it has chosen, the alien said simply. No one else can command it. Come with me and you will see your legacy. The words hung in the air. Elias felt a strange pull in his chest. Curiosity mixed with fear. Was this a joke, a scam? Something in the alien's voice told him otherwise. Before he could protest further, a shimmering portal opened behind the alien. It was a transport device, something far beyond human technology. He hesitated. Then, shaking, he stepped through. The stars stretched endlessly as the transport flung him across the galaxy at impossible speed. Colors he had never seen in nature flickered past his vision. He held onto the rail of the small cabin as his stomach flipped. And then, as suddenly as it began, the journey ended. Elias's shuttle emerged near a dark, quiet sector. Before him floated a ship unlike anything he had ever imagined. It was a city of metal, a fortress in space so vast that its surface reflected starlight like a shattered galaxy. Entire moons could have fit on its deck. He could not move. He could not speak. His hands shook and even his breath seemed to vanish in his chest. It's huge, he whispered finally, but his voice sounded small in the void. The alien escort floated beside him. This is the Colossus. It waits only for the one it recognizes. Step forward. Elias's legs felt like lead. He stepped closer, and the ship seemed to awaken. Lights flickered along its hull. Energy thrummed through the air and faint hums of machinery echoed in the distance. A door opened before him, immense and glowing. As he stepped inside, the corridors stretched endlessly, impossibly large. Walls were lined with alien alloys that shimmered like liquid metal. Machines he could not name hummed and clicked as if breathing. The air smelled of ozone and old power. He wandered through the halls, touching consoles and railings, marveling at the scale. This ship, the alien whispered, was built by humans long ago. You are its true heir. Only your hands, your mind, can awaken its full potential. Elias laughed nervously, shaking his head. I'm not worthy of this. I fix engines, not warships, not giant space cities. The alien said nothing, only gestured to a massive chamber ahead. The doors parted, revealing a bridge that seemed to stretch beyond sight. At the center, a core glowed, a spinning orb of energy alive with light. The hum of the ship became a low, powerful heartbeat. The Colossus spoke, not in words, but in thoughts. A voice echoed in his mind, deep and resonant. You are mine. You are the heir. You are human. Command me! Elias stumbled back. His knees shook. His heart raced. 100 questions fought for attention in his mind, but none of them mattered. All he could do was stare. This ship, it's alive. It recognizes me. He slowly approached the core. Every step made the floor vibrate slightly. Machines along the walls shifted, adjusting to his presence. Panels lit up, symbols forming patterns he could not understand. Every wire, every circuit, every glowing display seemed to acknowledge him, waiting for him to act. What does it want from me? He whispered. To awaken, to live again, to protect the legacy of humanity. Only you can guide me. Elias sank onto a small platform near the core. He had no words, no plan. He had always been a mechanic, not a commander. The weight of centuries of history pressed against him. He thought of the tiny repair jobs back on Haven 7, of the engines and the broken machines he had loved and fixed, and somehow this enormous silent warship felt like an engine waiting for him. Then the alien envoy spoke again. Enemies of humanity will sense the awakening. They will come. You cannot ignore this power. Elias's stomach twisted. Enemies? Here, now? Yes, the alien said. They will seek to claim the Colossus for themselves. The galaxy has long feared what humans could achieve. You are proof of that fear. The thought made him shiver. He had always been cautious, careful. He avoided attention, and now, the galaxy itself would watch him. The Colossus pulsed beneath his hands. A faint vibration ran up his arms. Lights danced across the walls, forming a map of star systems, fleets, and constellations he had only seen in textbooks. Some systems glowed red, danger. Others, gold, opportunity. Elias whispered, It knows. It knows everything. I am your gift. I am your burden. Will you take command? He closed his eyes. Images of the small workshops, his old friends, and the life he had known flashed before him. He felt the fear, the awe, and the responsibility pressing down like the weight of 1,000 worlds. Yes, he said finally, barely audible. I will. The ship shivered in response. Lights flared along every surface. Systems came alive. Engines glowed. Weapon bays opened. But for the first time, Elias realized they were not weapons to destroy but tools to protect. The Colossus was more than a warship. It was a living fortress of creation, technology, and human ingenuity. He stepped forward onto the bridge, the alien by his side. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewing window. In the silence of space, Elias felt a strange calm. Fear had not left him, but it had changed into something heavier, more focused. I am human, he thought. I am small. I am fragile. But I am in command of the greatest thing humanity has ever built. The alien gave him a small nod. You have a choice. You may flee now and the ship will remain dormant, or you may embrace it, and the galaxy will see the true power of humanity. Elias turned back to the glowing core. The pulse of energy seemed to beckon him. He reached out, touching the controls with trembling hands. The systems responded instantly, adjusting to his touch. Lights shifted, screens activated, and a soft hum grew into a deep, powerful resonance. He could feel it, an ancient intelligence, sleeping for centuries, now alive because of him. The Colossus was no longer a relic. It was awake. It was waiting. And through him it would move again. Far away in the shadows of distant systems, sensors began to pick up the ship's awakening. Eyes from alien empires widened in disbelief and fear. The galaxy would soon know that humanity had never been weak. Elias sank into the command chair, gripping the controls. He could not speak. He could not move. All he could do was stare, in silence, at the immense vessel that now recognized him as its master. For the first time in his life, Elias Kane understood the weight of being human, and the power that came with it. The stars outside the Colossus shimmered coldly as Elias Kane sat in the command chair, hands trembling slightly on the controls. The ship's hum had grown into a low, steady rhythm, as if it were breathing alongside him. He had barely begun to understand the vastness of the vessel, let alone the power that now answered only to him. Then, the sensors blinked. A warning. Red blips, small at first, grew into clusters across the display. Fleets, enemy ships, alien and sleek, were approaching the sector. Elias froze. His mind raced. He was not a soldier, not a commander, he was a mechanic. And yet here he sat, in the bridge of the galaxy's largest battleship, facing fleets that had likely destroyed thousands of ships before him. The Colossus pulsed beneath him, almost impatiently. They come for me. They come for you. Do not fear. I obey only your hand. Elias swallowed hard. I don't want to kill anyone. I just want to survive, Sam. Survival requires action, and I am your tool. The first wave of enemy ships appeared on the holographic display. They were massive, armed with weapons Elias could barely comprehend. Yet to them, the Colossus was just another target, a human vessel unlikely to pose real threat. They did not know that it was awake. They did not know it had chosen its heir. Elias took a deep breath. He closed his eyes for a moment, recalling every engine he had ever repaired, every system he had ever coaxed back to life. In a strange way, this was no different. He was repairing, awakening, guiding. He opened his eyes and touched the controls. Panels flared to life. energy coursing through conduits across the ship. Weapon systems rotated and aligned themselves. Shields shimmered with a strength he had never imagined. "Do it," he whispered to the ship, and somehow it understood. The Colossus moved with fluid precision. Energy beams shot into space, disabling the first wave of enemy ships. They were not destroyed. Elias had no desire for blood, but immobilized, their engines and weapon systems frozen. The aliens scrambled, trying to understand what was happening. Elias leaned closer to the console, adjusting power flows, redirecting energy to shield key points. His engineer's mind was at work, finding efficiency, avoiding waste, predicting enemy movements. He felt a strange thrill. This was his creation, his ship, and it responded to his every thought. The enemy commander's voice crackled across comms. "Who dares command such a vessel? Surrender now, human, or be destroyed." Elias's hand hovered over a large red button, the primary weapon system, but he hesitated. "No, I am not a destroyer. Not yet." Instead, he tapped a sequence of keys that rerouted the ship's energy into non-lethal pulses. One by one, enemy ships floated disabled, engines frozen, weapons jammed. The aliens' faces must have been pale. They were unprepared for a human mind commanding such power. "Impossible," one alien hissed over comms. "Humans cannot do this." Elias smirked slightly. He leaned back in his chair. "Watch me." Hours passed. The Colossus moved like a predator in space, disabling fleet after fleet, never destroying, only controlling. The aliens were forced to retreat, their arrogance broken. Some ships even transmitted messages of surrender, pledging loyalty to Elias and, by extension, humanity. For the first time, Elias realized that the Colossus was more than a warship. It was a symbol, a message that humans had never been weak. Every pulse, every movement, every decision he made was a statement to the galaxy. Underestimate humanity at your peril. Still, the battle was not over. The largest alien warlord fleet, rumored to be near invincible, was approaching. Hundreds of capital ships armed to the teeth, all heading toward Elias. His pulse quickened. He felt fear but not panic. He had the ship. The Colossus trusted him, and he would not betray that trust. He accessed the core, feeling its energy surge into him. Lights danced along the walls, symbols and numbers forming patterns he instinctively understood. He could feel the engines, the weapons, the shield grids, everything. "This is it," he whispered. "We can do this." The alien fleet arrived, massive and menacing. The Colossus pulsed, and with a deep roar, shields flared, weapons unfolded, and energy beams struck into space. Entire enemy formations were caught in immobilizing fields, their weapons useless, their engines stalled. Elias laughed in disbelief. He was a mechanic, a small man from a small station. Yet here he was, commanding the greatest warship ever built, bending fleets to his will without firing a single deadly shot. "You are more than I imagined," the Colossus whispered in his mind. Elias allowed himself a small smile. "We are just getting started." After hours of maneuvering, the aliens finally retreated. The galaxy had seen something they had never believed possible. A human commanding a battleship that could control fleets without destroying them. The message spread quickly through subspace channels, and whispers of human power began to circulate in corners of the galaxy that had long dismissed humanity. Elias sank into his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The Colossus hummed softly beneath him, calming him. He had done it. He had survived. He had proven humanity's place in the stars. Then came the revelation. In the ship's databanks, Elias found files older than any human civilization. Plans, technologies, machines, all lost to time. The Colossus had been built not just as a weapon, but as a vault, a repository of human ingenuity, and now it was his responsibility. He realized that the Colossus was a test, a guardian of human legacy. It had waited centuries for the one mind capable of understanding it, of guiding it, of using it wisely. Elias smiled. "You waited a long time for me," he said softly. "But we will not waste this gift." He began exploring the ship's capabilities. He found the ability to create entire satellite networks, to terraform barren worlds, to generate energy fields that could power civilizations. The Colossus was a living library, a creation of unimaginable human skill, and the galaxy had no idea. Not yet days passed. The Colossus became Elias's home, his workshop, and his command center. Alien emissaries arrived, trembling, seeking alliances, eager to learn the secrets of the ship without angering its human master. Elias was careful. He spoke little, acted wisely. He was still a mechanic at heart, but now his engineering mind had the power to shape worlds. One day an alien ambassador asked him, "Why do you not conquer? With this power you could take any system, any empire. Humans would rule the galaxy." Elias shook his head. "I fix, I build, I protect. That is our strength. Conquest is not human. Creation is." The alien stared, confused and impressed. The Colossus pulsed approvingly. Elias had chosen wisely. He had not let the power corrupt him. He had chosen the path of a protector, a creator, a human heir worthy of the galaxy's respect. In the quiet of space, Elias stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars. The Colossus hummed beneath his feet, a giant breathing with him. He was small, fragile, human, but now he was part of something larger than anything he had ever imagined. Somewhere in the darkness, distant fleets watched, whispering of the human who had awoken the greatest battleship in the galaxy. Fear and awe mixed in equal measure, and the message was clear. Humanity was no longer to be underestimated. Elias closed his eyes. "I am human. I am small. I am fragile. But I command the greatest ship ever built." The Colossus pulsed as if agreeing, and together, human and machine, they prepared to move forward. Not as conquerors, but as protectors, builders, and witnesses to the legacy of humanity. The galaxy would remember this day forever, and somewhere, far beyond the reaches of space, stars shone a little brighter, as if acknowledging the rise of a human engineer who had stepped into his inheritance, faced the impossible, and had not only survived but reshaped the universe's view of humanity.